Where do you stand on pro-life versus pro-choice?
It's to me, it's one of them women things.
Right.
Yeah, it's a touchy situation.
You know,
just because I'm for Trump don't mean I'm not pro-life or un-pro-life.
Right.
I think that the woman should have it's her body.
Pro-life or unpro-life. So pro-choice? I mean, he does end by saying it's a woman's body. So I think he's saying he's pro-choice. I think that's what he's saying. This is a video from 2 years ago, Trump supporter saying it's a woman's choice. However, a lot of Republicans don't think that way, and it's backfiring on them. Watch this.
Do you have a reaction to the Alabama Supreme Court ruling on the fact that embryos are children?
Yeah, I was all for it. We need to have more kids. We need to have an opportunity to do that. And I thought this was the right thing to do. But
IVF is used to have more children, and right now IVF services are paused at some of the clinics in Alabama. Aren't you concerned that this could impact people who are trying to have kids?
Well, that's for another conversation. People need to have that. We need more kids. We need the people to have the opportunity to have kids.
Senator, what do you say to the women right now in Alabama who no longer have access to IVF or who will not as a result of this ruling? What do you say to them?
Well, that's a hard one. It really is. It's really hard.
That was Senator Tommy Tuberville from Alabama, confused on this whole IVF thing. He's like, yeah, we should make more babies. And then they're going, well, this new Alabama Supreme Court ruling is not allowing people to make more babies. He goes, oh, that's a tough one. So they're confused. They don't know what the hell they want or they don't want. And again, it's biting them in the butt. But this guy is sticking to his guns.
He wants a total abortion ban with no exceptions. He supported bans that would not only criminalize abortion, but ban IVF treatments and common forms of birth control, and that you voted against access to contraception. Where are you on these issues? Is that an accurate assessment of where you are? Because that's not in step with the American people.
No, Shannon, look, I'm pro-life. I've said very clearly, I'm a Bible-believing Christian. I believe in the sanctity of every single human life. So I come to Congress with deep, personally held conviction.
And that's Speaker Mike Johnson. He's pro-life no matter what, no exceptions. Doesn't care if there was rape or if the woman's life is at risk. He's pro-life. So doesn't care about women, but just pro-life. So that's the kind of people we're dealing with. And there's more.
I think the court correctly assessed the law, but I believe the Alabama law needs to change because the Republican Party cannot be the party against family formation. And when we're at the point where we're confusing like families like those you just had on with abortionists, like something is totally wrong. The people who want to have a family should have the government and the law on their side. And the notion that discarded embryos in IVF somehow turn these people who want children and want families and want the American dream into criminals is really wrong.
Oh, there we go. Matt Gaetz is the voice of reason. He realizes that the IVF decision was not good, not going to be good for Republicans. It's all very confusing. This is what happens when you have a bunch of people who are basing their decisions on some sort of like biblical or religious thing that there's no real science behind, and then they get something passed, and then it comes back to biting them in the butt, and now they're starting to see that it's not good for them. So let's go back to where this all started. This all started when the Republicans decided, even though a majority of Americans support a woman's right to choose, Republicans decided after many, many years, fighting, fought hard, got 3 conservative judges appointed under Trump, and they took away a woman's right to choose. That's right. Take away a woman's right to choose. A woman should not be able to choose what to do with her own body. We're going to be one of the hardest countries in the world when it comes to the abortion right to choose. So they did that. And now what happened was you got even more conservative judges there in Alabama who are saying, well, IVF treatments, it's an embryo, which is a life. So they've banned IVF treatments. For those of you who don't know, IVF treatments is where people who are trying to have a child get together and they get this artificially inseminated child. They get the egg and they get the sperm and they make the IVF and then they make the embryo, and then the embryo becomes a baby eventually. But what had happened was there was a case where this family had been trying to use IVF, and I guess an employee goes into the room where the embryos are, and some embryos fall and it's broken, and then the family sues this place and says that basically it was a life, it was murder. It's kind of like the rules of like, you guys were in the care of my child, even though it was an embryo. And then the Supreme Court there in Alabama held up that decision. And now people that want to actually have babies can't have babies because Republicans are so cuckoo when it comes to this whole embryo thing. All right. This whole thing is up for debate between scientists and these people who are these religious nuts who have gone to the point of saying that, as soon as that embryo is made, it's a baby, it's life, the sanctity of life. What about the safety of the mother? What about the situation where one of these states that had banned abortion recently, there was a mother who found out that her child, if given birth to, would be born with basically a life-threatening health defect that the child was gonna die once it was born. And it was gonna affect the mother. It was gonna make put the mother's life in danger. I believe it was in Texas, I think. And she had to leave the state to go get an abortion because of this crazy laws that the Republicans have passed. And it's biting them in the butt. And I hope that you're paying attention. I hope you're paying attention that they're trying to take your rights away. I come from a country, Iran, where the religious group, the Muslim Islamic Republic of Iran, was formed, and they started to take people's rights away. And the first people's rights they took away was women's rights. Then they go after LGBTQ. Then they go after religious minorities, and on and on and on. We're heading in that direction. If you vote for these people, if you vote for your Mike Johnsons, if you vote for your Marjorie Taylor Greens, even your Matt Gaetzes, you're voting for people that are going to take your rights away to choose. If you're a woman, no way in hell should you be voting for the Republicans. If you are a man who respects a woman's right to choose, you should not be voting for the Republicans. They are going to take those rights away, and they'll go after all the other rights right after. Clarence Thomas, who is the conservative judge in the Supreme Court, in the ruling where he ruled against Roe v. Wade, he indicated that we should be looking at gay marriage next. He didn't have to mention that, but he did, because he's trying to set you up so that when they come after gay marriage, when they go after the rights of other people, you go, oh, well, it's not as hard as a blow. Well, I hope that this is all coming back to bite the Republicans in the ass. I hope that you do your duty by registering to vote, voting blue, and making sure these people, your Tommy Tubervilles, who don't even know what the hell IVF is, they don't get voted in. Vote them out. They're not doing any good for you. And by the way, I want you to take a look at what the Republican Congress has done for you in your district. If you voted for your Marjorie Taylor Greens, your Lauren Boeberts, your Comers, all these guys, Jim Jordans, look and see what they've done for you. They've done zero, zip, nada. All they do is they keep bringing up these cases where they're trying to impeach the Secretary of Homeland Security, Mayorkas. They're trying to impeach Joe Biden. They're doing all these hearings, but they're doing nothing for you except taking your rights away. Guys, I'm comedian Maz Jobrani. I have a comedy special right here on YouTube. It's called The Birds and the Bees. Watch it. If you like it, leave a comment. Give a super thanks. If you don't like it, keep it to yourselves. Bye.